Hi guys, welcome back to the Social Tune. And by popular demand, let's stick with the 2000s for a bit by counting down the top 10 best hit songs of 2005. So this is a year in which many of the worst aspects of the 2000s were on display. Hip-hop was mostly in freefall, with crunk having morphed into a genre that was so over-sexualized it was actually gross. There was about as much country music as you'd find on a modern year-end list. Pop was practically non-existent, and rock and R&B were inconsistent. Which is why, for many, 2005 is often categorized as the worst year for music in the 2000s. For me though, I'm not sure I'd quite go that far. For the simple reason that, in my opinion, the best hits of 2005 are on another level of quality. I'm serious, out of every single top 10 list I've put together, this is the one where the overall quality is by far the highest. Which is not to say I don't have any controversial picks here and there, but to me, it honestly doesn't get much better than this in terms of sheer enjoyment of music. To the point where narrowing this down to just 10 honorable mentions was pretty damn tough. Because while not all of these songs may seem incredible to you, I really do love all of them. So enough talking about them, let's finally jump in. It's sad to see Will Smith reduced to more and more of a punchline because I really do still love the guy. He's charming, he's funny, and even at his worst he's... none of that ringing a bell. Well, okay, I can't really defend that. But I still stand by liking a lot of his work, including this song. A dance track centered around a really simple yet accessible move, and verses reflecting Will Smith's age as an older rapper being surrounded by all this sexualization and being pretty bemused by it. Although, in terms of tight dance tracks centered around sheer charisma, one other performer does spring to mind. I can't figure it out why I'm so caught up, got me feeling it, caught up. How often do you hear a song about getting too committed to a relationship too quickly? Well, Usher delivered it with easily one of his tightest and catchiest hooks. Sure, it doesn't quite hold a candle to his best hits of 2004, but I'll take Confessions as leftovers over most hits any day because this still kicks ass. But without you, all I'm going to be is incomplete. I love Backstreet, and this song's instrumental is beautifully produced in every aspect. Funny enough, the one thing I'm not a big fan of on this track is the boys themselves. The harmonies sound great as usual, but whenever one takes the stage on their own, it just sounds a little bit strained and forced, almost like they're trying to imitate other rock singers from that era. No need, you guys, you're already great. Still, it has enough good elements that I really couldn't leave it off of the list. Chariot only just missed this list for some odd lyrical choices and the fact that it wasn't Gavin DeGraw's other huge hit from this year that I am a huge fan of. Seriously, this is an incredibly nostalgic song for me, with an unforgettable guitar riff and a hook that will refuse to leave your head for a week after you hear it. Easily one of my favorites from the guy, and a damn amazing song to boot. I got the crowd yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. I'm a hot girl yelling, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Like I said, hip-hop was mostly in freefall in 2005, but this was one of the big exceptions. T.I.'s breakthrough hit may not quite be on the same level of some of his later ones like Big Things Poppin', but it still contains a great sample of Jay-Z and a ton of tight bars, delivered with an energetic and elastic flow that few can bring like him. Yet another underappreciated gem from the guy, and deserves a fair few more listens from all of you. Coldplay's hits always either strike gold for me or leave me feeling completely cold. Thankfully, this is one of the former cases and brings to fruition the potential that I had seen on Clocks years previously, with an unbelievably soothing piano and a mellow vibe that still manages to build to an impressive crescendo. A great and atmospheric song for any emotional state that you might find yourself in. Don't get me wrong, I love this song, and I'm as shocked as anyone it didn't make the top 10. What can I say, the actual picks are really just that close to my heart. But also, despite how kick-ass and classic this track is, I've personally always preferred... I think I'm the one person who isn't completely wild about Behind These Hazel Eyes. Because personally, I've always preferred this. Now to be fair, that does have a lot to do with the content. Kelly has written several songs directed at her deadbeat dad, and this is by far my favorite of those. The tragic lyrics about her underlying pain and fear going into a world where she never felt safe or protected are truly heartbreaking. And Kelly sells the song with an emotion and passion that are really compelling. In any other year, this would have certainly made the top 10. But again, stiff competition. Even from songs which are notoriously god-awful, but which I do have a huge soft spot for. Yep, I'm still a complete sucker for songs about reminiscing about one's past, especially with lyrics that are pretty nostalgic and descriptive. Sure, it's kind of meatheaded, and it doesn't hold a candle to Marianas Trench's Acadia or Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran, but its tremendous and iconic hook that has now been reduced to a joke still leaves me with a warm feeling that no other Nickelback song has ever managed to get. Hate Nickelback all you want, but just let me have this one. Is someone getting Okay, crucify me all you want, but I still think the Foo Fighters are one of the most overrated bands in rock history. Don't get me wrong, they're fine, I'd even call them good, but so many of their songs are just interchangeable for me. However, I will admit that their biggest US hit is an easy exception. Best of You is a great example of a rock song that starts big and only gets bigger, keeping the melodies varied while still maintaining a strong tempo throughout. Overall, it's a pretty fitting title, as I really do believe that this is the best that this band has to offer. And yet, it's still not quite in the top 10, so let's finally address those. Is this one thing that got me tripping? Is this one thing that got me tripping? You did this one thing that so made me feel it. So after a list of honorable mentions like that, I'm sure that my actual top 10 picks shouldn't spark any controversy at all. Well, let me explain. I have a playlist that contains all the best songs I've ever heard, from album cuts to hits. And it's a very selective list, usually only allowing the top 3 or 4 songs from a year-end list onto it. However, for this year, all of my top 10 are on that playlist, meaning yes, I really do love them that much. So if you're watching this, even if you don't agree with me, I'd ask you to simply indulge me. With that said, I still don't know all the words to my number 10 pick. Okay, let me rephrase that. I don't think I know all the words, because the ones I do know are mostly kind of nonsense. Well, maybe not nonsense, but they certainly do take a little bit of decoding. To this day, I still can't tell if a loaded gun complex is genius or stupid. It's Fall Out Boy's breakthrough hit where they do what they do best, delivering an incredibly memorable and overwritten song that nevertheless still sticks in your head like nothing else. And for me, this is up there with Uma Thurman and Thanks for the Memories. It's so insane that it can't help but grab your attention, especially when paired with this incredible instrumentation. It feels like everything in this song is desperately trying to keep up with Patrick's wailing, and it manages to work surprisingly well for me. It's the kind of earnest bombast that only really works when you're talking about a simple emotion. So what better than a love song from the awkward underdog? Seriously, this guy is anything but the cool kid. He's more the type to watch you from the closet wishing to literally be in your pants. I know, that's not just me saying that either. It's a song so bizarre, even for this band, that it caught the world by storm. And for me, it honestly ends up being one of their all-time greatest songs. With a killer hook, a ton of energy, and buckets of charm. We're going down, This wasn't the best song in this vein to be released in 2005, but as a fan of this band, I knew that there was no way I could leave it off the list. I love you, Fall Out Boy, even when I don't fully understand you. Complex, cock it and pull it. Okay, so far I've been fairly justified. I just need to keep it up for 9 more picks. So, my number 9 is Nope, I've Lost You. Don't play with me, don't play with me, 'cause what goes around comes around, what goes up must come down. Now who's crying, desiring to come back to me? Okay, real question. Do people dislike this song? I ran a poll on Twitter a few months ago, follow me there at the Social Tune, link in the description, where I asked everyone what their favorite song was out of this, Fallin', I Ain't Got You, and You Don't Know My Name. Now for the record, I love all of those songs, but I was still surprised by the reaction I got for placing this alongside the other 3. Because if I'm being honest, this is probably my favorite out of all of Alicia Keys' hits. Now, you don't have to tell me that this song is a little bit abrasive when compared to a lot of her other hits. It's not a piano ballad, there's very little actual belting, and it's a very bitter song directed at an ex-lover who's come crawling back after breaking up with her years previously. But have you ever noticed how frustratingly docile and samey Alicia Keys' music can be? Don't get me wrong, I like a lot of her output, and she's a great singer. But even on her best hits back in her heyday, she relied on the piano love ballad formula a little too heavily. That is, with the exception of this one, and it kind of kicks ass. The pianos are substituted for strings, and it gives the song a much tighter feel. Plus, instead of belting out passionately, Alicia opts for a much more restrained yet no less beautiful delivery. Which brings us to that amazing chorus. I adore how tight and catchy that is. Heck, I even love the more stilted delivery on the verses, including the hip-hop inspired elements. I remember when I was sitting home alone, waiting for you, at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yes, it's unlike anything that she's ever done before or since, but she does it well and sounds completely comfortable while doing it. It may not work for you on first listen, but give it some time, and I'm sure you'll come round on it.
You're such a fucking hoe, I love it. You're such a fucking hoe, I love it.
So, this is dumb and stupid. The video's already dated, and the song itself is pure disposable garbage. Which is odd, because Kanye knows how to be funny, especially when it's at the expense of women.
Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
Okay, I know that people nowadays have a very mixed reaction to this song, but seriously, how could you not like this? It's the ultimate anthem to bashing gold diggers, Jamie Foxx's sample sounds great, the horn-driven hook is incredibly catchy, and of course, the verses are hilarious.
Take too much to touch her. From what I heard, she got a baby by Buster. My best friend said she used to with Usher. I don't care what none of y'all say, I still love her.
What works for me personally is that he doesn't start bashing the gold diggers immediately right out the gate. In fact, he starts off by defending their honor, refusing to believe that they would stoop so low. But by the second verse, he's realized that he's being played for a fool. And so, he responds accordingly.
If you ain't no punk, holla, we want prenup. We want want prenup. Yeah, it's something that you need to have. Cause when she leave, yo, she gon' leave with half.
I especially love the third verse where he warns her that her days with this guy are numbered, and that he will dump her eventually once he catches on.
This week he mopping floors, next week is the fries, so stick by his side. I know his dudes ballin', and yeah, that's nice.
It's a fun and jaunty song which may be mean-spirited, but for justifiable reasons. And it manages to do all of it in an incredibly entertaining way.
Get down, girl, go ahead. Let me hear that back.
It's this one thing that got me trippin'. It's this one thing that got me trippin'. It did this one thing that so made me feel it.
So generally, I can agree with the critical consensus when it comes to 2005. It's one of those years where every single top 10 list is somewhat similar, where certain picks are guaranteed to make an appearance. With one slight exception. Because while many people like my number 7 pick just fine, in my opinion, it's one of the most underrated hip-hop hits of the 2000s. So, let me make my case.
Different day, same shit, ain't nothing good in the hood. I run away from this bitch and never come back if I could. Hated to love it, the underdogs on top. And I'm gon' shine, homie, until my heart stop. Go ahead, envy me. I'm Rap's MVP, and I ain't going nowhere, so you can get to know me.
So I know what you're all thinking. Really? You're gonna put 50 Cent this high on your best list? Well, while I'm not a fan of the guy, I'd argue that this is a rare example of him actually trying. Seriously, listen to the opening verse and you'll see him get a lot more personal than your average verse about growing up in the hood.
Coming up, I was confused, my mama kissing a girl. Confusion occurs coming up in the cold world.
He addresses his mother's lesbian relationship, his dad leaving, and even the way he was encouraged to commit crimes to earn his street cred even as a child. When's the last time you heard 50 get this personal on a track before, especially on a radio hit?
If I can move a few packs, I get the hat. Now that'd be dope, tossed and turned in my sleep that night. Woke up the next morning, niggas have stole my bike.
I love how he allows himself to look weak for a moment by talking about his bike getting stolen. Something that may seem trivial but both humanizes him and also is clearly a much bigger deal to a small kid growing up in those conditions. But he doesn't dwell on it because now he can look back on those times from the top knowing that he's made it.
Hated to love it, the underdogs on top. And I'm gon' shine, homie, until my heart stop. Go ahead, envy me. I'm Rap's MVP.
I adore this hook. It makes great use of both of their voices and the production complements them perfectly, especially with the female vocal sample in the background. This beat was produced by Dr. Dre and it's easily one of his most underrated, subtle but layered. And that's all before we get to the games part.
On the grill of my low rider, guns on both sides, right above the gold wires, I 4-5 them. Kill a nigga on my song and really do it, that's the true meaning of a ghost rider.
His first verse probably contains his cleverest punchlines, but it also contains several references to just how dangerous his life was back then. Even having a friend die in his arms when he was just about 8 years old.
Stay strapped like car seats, been banging since my little nigga Rob got killed for his Barclays.
But personally, it's his second verse that always gets to me.
My mom's happy she ain't gotta pay the rent, and she got a red bow on that brand new Benz. Waiting on shot money to land, sitting in the range, thinking how they spent $30 million on airplanes.
He talks about how his mother struggled to pay rent when he was younger, but now he can afford to buy her a brand new car. Followed by several musings about how celebrities will waste their money on themselves. Sure, you could call him a hypocrite, but within the context of the song, it's a valid criticism. Especially when, as he points out, there are children in Africa who can't afford to make school books out of their trees because they're too busy making coffins for their dead.
I wanna know what's going on, like I hear Marvin. Those school books, they use that wood to build coffins.
That is a morbid but powerful juxtaposition. And then, of course, you have the final line.
Whenever I'm in the booth and I get exhausted, I think, what if Marie Baker got that abortion? I love you, Ma.
That's enough to get me to slightly well up whenever I hear it. It's the perfect way to bookend one of the most justified brag rap anthems I've ever heard. One that showcases just why our MCs are so grateful, as well as just how far they've come. Sadly, this would be the last time that 50 Cent would interest me in a very long time, but at least he'll always have this to his name. And in my opinion, more people should give it the credit that it deserves. Great song.
Go ahead, envy me. I'm Rap's MVP, and I ain't going nowhere, so you can get to know me.
It's this one thing that got me trippin'. It's this one thing that got me trippin'. It did this one thing that so made me feel it.
Well, this was predictable. Here's the first of our 3 Green Day hits. Okay, you need to understand that I love American Idiot through and through. It's one of the best albums of the 2000s, and in 2005 it impacted the charts in a big way. And while this may not be Jesus of Suburbia or Letter Bomb or the title track, it's still a great example of just how catchy and cathartic blatantly political music can be. The chugging guitar riff, the sharp kick drum that backs up the main groove, and of course the wonderfully theatrical yet biting lyrics, all lend this track a ton of propulsive power that conveys the urgency of the message very effectively. And as for that message... Can I get another amen? There's a flag wrapped around a score of men. So, in 2005, America was at war with the Middle East. And while some people weren't too sure exactly how to address it, Green Day weren't the least bit shy about calling out the Bush administration for lying to people in order to justify their cause. However, this wasn't just an outcry to stop all the pointless bloodshed and fighting, but an angry plea to the American people to think for themselves, to dream and differ from the hollow lies being fed to them. And the bridge in particular dispenses of any pleasantries, bluntly portraying exactly what the administration thinks of the rest of the world. Sing out to the president, gas man, pumped away is your punishment. Pulverize the Eiffel Towers, criticize your government. The language here is filthy and violent. A caricature that may seem hyperbolic to you and me, but was probably pretty accurate to those who were trapped in the Middle East during this war, as well as to the rest of the world who were looking on as the carnage unfolded. It takes balls to make a song this angry and outspoken. And unlike Daryl Worley's Have You Forgotten, it's well thought out, justified, and made entirely out of empathy for a group of people they are not a part of. And the fact that it was such a huge hit is both surprising and a joy to witness. So, that was heavy and extremely politically charged, but if you know me, you know that I like my songs about humanity to scale back their scope and focus on a much more personal subject.
But I think we should take it slow. We're just ordinary people. We don't know which way to go.
I know, it's John Legend, the man that I have gone on record to say is one of the safest artists of our time. How could I possibly justify placing this over Holiday? Well, while Holiday is great, it's a far cry from being Green Day's best song, whereas Ordinary People is easily the best song that John Legend has ever written.
Girl, I'm in love with you, but this ain't the honeymoon, past the infatuation phase.
As someone who absolutely adores his 2009 hit Greenlight, I can still easily admit that this is his best. Sure, that was smooth as hell while still being respectful, but this dissects troubled relationships to such a visceral degree, while still keeping the language simple and easy to relate to. And all with some of the most technical piano playing and gorgeous strings that you will ever hear on a pop song.
Maybe we should take it slow.
Here, John Legend describes a relationship that is past the infatuation phase. The moment where the couple still loves each other, but their relationship is evolving, as they tend to do.
Right in the thick of love, at times we get sick of love. It seems like we argue every day.
They start to argue, they get into fights, they have moments of anger and misery, and they even start to wonder whether or not they should break up, all of which is perfectly normal.
I hang up, you call, we rise and we fall, and we feel like just walking away.
It's a song driving home the message that we're all just ordinary people and it's okay to take things slow. You're only human. Of course you're going to make mistakes and need time to adjust to one another. I can't think of another song that breaks relationships down into such simple terms while still remaining so insightful, smart, and full of compassion.
Maybe another fight, maybe we won't survive, but maybe we'll grow, we never know, baby. You and I, we're just ordinary people.
In a year as turbulent and frequently ugly as 2005 was, a song like this brought some class and maturity to the table that was sorely needed. It's a gorgeous song and finally one that truly lives up to the artist's stage name.
This time we'll take it slow.
It's this one thing that got me tripping. It's this one thing that got me tripping. You did this one thing that so made me feel it.
Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last.
Yeah, what can I say about this song that hasn't been said by dozens of other music critics? It's the most personal moment on American Idiot. The song where Billy Joe breaks down his feelings towards his father's death over 20 years previously. An emotionally fueled power ballad like few before or since.
Here comes the rain again, falling from the stars, drenched in my pain again, becoming who we are.
The build of this song is very gradual. It doesn't hit you right out the gate like a lot of the other songs off of this album. Yet by the end, the crescendo of the guitars, drums, and the heart-wrenching vocals reach an apex that is impossible to deny.
The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends.
And what makes this so unique is Billy Joe's delivery. It's not dramatic or overstated. He doesn't sound racked with pain, but simply filled with a deep and pure sadness. You can tell that this is something that he's had to live and deal with for a very long time. And even after all that time, it's clear that he's still not fully over it. Because after all, how could he be?
As my memory rests, but never forgets what I lost. Wake me up when September ends.
It's a beautiful, tragic, and powerful song like few others in Green Day's catalogue, and a personal favourite of mine from one of my all-time favourite albums.
Wake me up when September ends.
It's this one thing that got me tripping. It's this one thing that got me tripping. You did this one thing that so made me feel it.
So yeah, we're gradually reaching the end of this list, and we're mostly out of surprises. One quick glance at the year's end should give you a pretty good idea about what my top 3 songs are, and quite frankly, I didn't even want to rank them. All 3 are classics which I adore, and putting them in any order is practically arbitrary. But if I really had to, here's my number 3. As I have stated in the past, while I do like Gorillaz, I wouldn't exactly call myself a fan of theirs. I've gone through their entire discography, and Demon Days is by far their most interesting project. And even that's a strong 8 out of 10 at best. However, while I won't deny that they have several great songs in their catalogue, this is by far their magnum opus.
Said break it down on a camel's back. They just have to go 'cause they don't know where.
Everything about Feel Good Inc. is experimental and weird. From the awesome bass line to the post-apocalyptic dystopian setting, to the wacky rap contributions from De La Soul, because of course they're on this.
Laughing gas, these hazmats, fast cat, lining them up like ass crack. Ladies, ponies at the track, it's my chocolate attack.
Everything about this is strange, bizarre, and completely awesome. I mean, the song opens and closes with an insane screaming laugh right out of a Joker comic. And it only gets weirder from there, with lyrics describing a future where we're all just pawns in our master's game, all alike and meekly obedient while we are fed propaganda and products designed to keep us happy at the expense of our individuality. Again, is it any wonder they got De La Soul for this?
Don't shop, shit it, get it. Keep high captains in it, steady, watch me navigate.
It's a song that works because it embraces its weirdness fully, to the point where you can appreciate its creeping paranoia with or without drugs.
Windmill for the land, I'm forever hand in hand.
It's bizarre, it's crazy, it's unhinged, and it creates a tense atmosphere like few other songs ever have. A classic for a reason, and deserving of its high reputation.
It's this one thing that got me tripping. It's this one thing that got me tripping. You did this one thing that's all made me feel it.
I walk alone, I walk up. My shadow's only one that walks beside me. My shallow heart's the only thing that's beating.
Yep, I know that many of you probably expected Green Day to top this list. Well, it didn't happen, and if you don't like it, make your own list.
Sometimes I wish someone out there will find me. Till then I walk alone.
This is one of the greatest rock songs of the decade. I would even argue one of the greatest rock hits of all time. The fact that it was such a huge hit is kind of mind-blowing, but admittedly only kind of. Because in many ways, it's so catchy and memorable that it demanded to be huge.
I walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams, where the city sleeps and I'm the only one and I walk alone.
This won the Grammy for Record of the Year, as well as a ton of other awards. It was the 9th best-selling hit of its decade, almost reaching the top of the Billboard Hot 100, only held at bay by...
I take you to the candy shop. I let you the lollipop.
Really? But okay, putting that slight hiccup aside, this was unstoppable. And it still sounds that way today, from those shimmering chords that open it up, to the guitars and percussion that kick in to start up that incredible groove alongside Billy Joe's fantastic voice.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known.
To lyrics about walking through life alone with nothing but your shadow for company, something that we all have to learn to do.
On the borderline of the edge and where I walk alone.
To the way the guitars just ramp up towards the end of the track, all of it is so epic and grandiose. The type of song that you would never get to chart nowadays.
I walk alone, I walk alone.
This is another one of those songs that I would simply describe as Titanic. An iconic gem that has been praised to hell and back by practically everybody. But much like back then, it was barely held at bay by one other song. Is it Candy Shop? It's not.
It's this one thing that got me tripping. It's this one thing that got me tripping. You did this one thing that's all made me feel it.
Choosing my number one for this list was probably the hardest it's ever been for me. But if I had to pick a number one, it would have to be the one that I have the most emotion for. The one that's tied to so many memories, both good and bad. The one that I have loved the longest. So, Let's see if I can talk about it without getting too personal.
Coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. It started out with a kiss. How did it end up like this? It was only a kiss. It was only a kiss.
Okay, first of all, the instrumentation on this song is perfect, plain and simple. This is alternative rock the way I love it. Weird and off-kilter, going for huge experiments that may or may not pay off, but which really connect when they work. And my god is this hook everything I love about the subgenre.
But it's just the price I pay. Destiny is calling me. Open up my eager eyes. 'Cause I missed the bright side.
The way the guitars ring out across the track, sounding both spacey and epic while still maintaining a strong, steady groove throughout, is simply stunning. And on top of that, you have Brandon Flowers' performance, which is incredibly compelling.
Now they're going to bed, and my stomach is sick, and it's all in my head, but she's touching his chest now. He takes off her dress now.
He plays the role required for this song expertly, shy and awkward, yet defiant, sounding angry and powerful exactly when it's required of him. I especially love his performance on the hook, where he admits that, yes, he's jealous and it's overwhelming him. Which brings us to the lyrics.
I just can't look, it's killing me. And taking control.
This is a song dealing with the aftermath of possible infidelity, where Brandon's girlfriend left him broken after he accused her of cheating. And what's key to this track is that it's never made clear whether she cheated on him or if it's just his paranoia getting to him.
It started out with a kiss, how did it end up like this? It was only a kiss. It was only a kiss.
He may have seen them exchange a quick kiss, but it drove his mind into overload. And now he's left alone, unable to stop picturing her with another man even after the fact. Which tears him apart because he knows he shouldn't feel this way. After all, if she didn't cheat on him, he's just a paranoid asshole. But if she did, why should he waste his time feeling jealous of her now?
Jealousy, turning saints into the sea, turning through sick lullabies, choking on your alibis.
I'm not going to deny that this song gets to me for a lot of personal reasons. It works for exactly the same reasons Unfaithful by Rihanna doesn't. The characters are human and sympathetic, the protagonist's twisted point of view is nevertheless perfectly understandable, and the song brings up some painful memories that I still think are important to revisit now and again.
Open up my eager eyes, 'cause I missed the bright side.
It's a song that fills me with a lot of emotions aside from simple joy or sadness, but after all, that's exactly why I love it so much, and why, at the end of the day, it's my favorite song of 2005. Fine job, gentlemen. This is a song that will always help me find some light in the darkness. And that's my time, you guys. I know that some of those picks will be controversial and that this got a wee bit heavy at some points, but next month we'll be tackling the worst hits of 2005, and let's just say I am utterly dreading it. Expect that video to get extremely heated. You've been warned. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and post your own lists and thoughts down in the comments below. Please subscribe so you don't miss a thing, and until the next time, I'm Finn, and this is the Social Tunes signing off.